official RRSC training, and all the coordinators were there. And the meals were horribly expensive, but because it was on Rotary's dime, we all ordered what we wanted, and I thought, gosh, what a waste. Just, you know.
Yep, I have a feeling Mary's company is headquartered over in Darmstadt, Germany, and they would send people back and forth all the time. I have a feeling that's not going to happen anymore.
Nope.
They're probably very disappointed in the beer that we serve.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Well, South Africa is known for having very good beer. It's the second largest brewery in the world, South African breweries. So even the Miller beer here doesn't taste like the Miller beer in America.
Ah.
But then, you know, I'm a Guinness guy. I don't drink yellow beer.
I don't drink beer, so we hosted a gentleman from GSE team member a number of years ago from Germany, and I said, as a non-beer drinker, how would you compare German beer to U.S. beer? Because, you know, Anheuser-Busch here in St. Louis. And he said, well, let's put it this way. I can drink 10 of your beers, and all I have to do is go to the bathroom. You drink 2 or 3 of ours, and you're going to be on the floor. Okay, that explains it pretty well. I can do this one. Hello, Ann. Hello, Al.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good afternoon.
Morning, Bill.
Good
Or
morning.
afternoon, as Patrick's going to say in a minute.
Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
Morning, Bill.
Good morning, Al.
This is the Hollywood Squares. Everybody say good morning to everybody. Brady Bunch and everything else, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I take it you're working today, Todd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, first day. Working today, tomorrow, and Friday. I'm going to try to do it solo today. My assistant texted me this morning saying she's not feeling good.
Uh-oh.
She's going through chemo.
Oh, okay.
And
Yep.
so, I mean, that's that. She's has chemo every Monday. And this was number 3 this past week.
Gosh.
Not fun.
No, not fun.
We should have a few more joining, I hope.
And well, last night at our club meeting, we had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, we had six in the room, 1 on Zoom, and another, his wife got sick at the last minute, so he was taking her to the doctor, and another one had to work. And the one that is 80 years of age sometimes forgets that it's Tuesday.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
you know, when you're not going anywhere like we're not, and every day seems to be the same
Yeah.
day after a certain point, you know?
That is
we're
true.
not locked down quite as tight as you are, but
We're not tight, believe me. The St. Louis area, well, Missouri is not, I mean, we're choosing, Mary and I are choosing not to go. Her work is from home. They've said, don't come in. I teach. I have no idea how this is going to work out. We got marching orders yesterday, and substitute teaching with these orders is going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting. So
well, Sherry had her touch of COVID. Spent 3 weeks in bed, and so I was running around doing all the things that she needed to have done. I had a touch, but mine was 3-4 days. Hers was 3 weeks. So we just, you learn, so we insist anybody coming on the property, on the house property, or at the church or at the library, they wear a mask. And one guy says, well, I don't want to wear a mask. And I said, I'm sorry, you act like this is a choice.
There was a report in one of the papers yesterday online about a gentleman, because we had our primary votes yesterday, as you know, and he got real ticked off because they forced him to wear a mask when voting, and he claimed his voting rights were suppressed because he had to wear a mask. Now they offered him, take the ballot to your car, fill it out curbside. We will come and pick it up and bring it back in the building, put it in. Nope, don't want to do that because I can't guarantee it'll be actually counted. You might throw it away. Okay. They offered him to drive maybe, well, Baldwin to St. Anne is maybe a 30-minute drive at most. They had outside stations there where you didn't have to have a mask, and all of it was right there. Nope, too far to drive. I have to vote here, and I don't want to wear a mask. And they said, nope, sorry. So
Yeah.
he was,
Good for them.
Johnny Rose.
Oh, well. Yeah, you can't fix stupid. Sorry.
no, I deal with 5th and 6th grade, and trust me, the way some of these people are behaving, they might need to repeat 5th and 6th grade.
Good morning, Al.
Well, life is tough and men to die. Good afternoon.
Morning.
Morning, Mitch.
All right. How is everybody?
Doing good. For the few that weren't on the call yesterday, when we start, you want to bring them up to speed?
Sure.
That way, not everything's a surprise.
Yeah, we got a few of you there. So yesterday at the board meeting, Mike LaChance requested that he step down as president of the club due to the responsibilities for his job is just crazy right now. Putting in 16, 18-hour days, trying to figure out personnel and how to keep Rittner online and plug people in where they need to be. So he was just absolutely overwhelmed and asked that he be excused. Still wanted to be involved, but just felt like there's no way that he could do us justice as president this coming year. David Muller has also changed the status of his business, and he is a sole operator, so he has no help. He's having to run and get parts in the morning, take care of his business. So he has requested that he not be the vice president for this year. So after some deliberation, what we discussed and the board approved was that I would step back in as president for this coming year. Dave Robinette will step in as in the president-elect role as he coordinates the programs and takes care of keeping the club online, keeping us going, which he has done graciously since March. So he just kind of filled that role. Not necessarily saying that he will be president next year. But we will address that. Maybe January we'll figure out where we're going with the leadership next year. But for now, we both jump back in so that we can hopefully operate fairly normal. So we thank Mike for his service, and please keep him and David in your thoughts and prayers, because they're they're both trying to make things work, and we're just all doing the best we can this time period. So and I will try to have a good year this year, and we'll take it from there. So, I apologize for being a little late. My iPad decided that this was a good time to update its software this morning. So it just got up and going. Who's all online, David? We got a good group. I haven't seen. I can only see the 9 people. So
That's what we've got 10 right now.
Okay.
Ann, Bill, you, Ruth, Al, Bob, Todd, Jack, and then Mary and I.
Okay. So Jack's who I don't see.
And well, I'm talking about from our club.
Sure.
Mary said, and Pat. Well, yes, I know that, but he's not of our club. So,
Hi,
okay.
Patrick.
Yeah, yes, boss.
All righty. So one of these days I'll run by Russo's at the lunch hour and see if I can grab a bell and we can bring our bell back into service. So with that, I will officially begin our meeting. I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. There you go. I pledge allegiance to the
To the
flag,
flag,
United States of
United
America,
States of America, and
and
to
to the republic for which it stands,
Stand.
one nation, under God,
God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So Bill Strohmeyer, do you want to give an update on Ted? Or I had talked to Paulette, so you can talk if you know more.
You've probably talked since I have, so maybe you know more than I do.
Okay. She called me the other day and officially they've placed Ted on hospice. They're not sure. He's very, very depressed, not wanting to eat, do things. He's not wanting to do the therapy he needs to do to get over this broken hip that he just had. So no one can visit still. It's a hell of a place to be, I'll tell you. That's just, I am so sorry. Feel so sorry for him. So let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. And I don't know if I don't think Brian's on the meeting this morning, but we should probably try and get a card out to him at least, let him know our club's thinking of him. So might give him a little bright spot in the day.
I've got his address, so I can send something to him on behalf of the club.
I think that would be great. That's really that's the only update I've got. So, but
Speaking of Brian,
yeah.
What facility is Ted in?
He is at, where did I write it down at? He's at the
It's a sunrise.
Sunrise.
on Clarkson, out there in Chesterfield.
Okay.
Morning.
Morning, Brian. Anybody else have any news for the club before we kick off our program this morning? Oh, a quick update. We did get the CAP grant money in. So the violins were ordered yesterday, and I ordered the music books. So we'll at least be able to present those 6 violins to Rittner again as soon as possible. Probably last time the violins only came in, there was only like a week or so. So I don't anticipate that taking very long. The books will be here on Monday. So.
And I will take care. You had not ordered the coach yet, correct, Mitch?
No, I did not.
Okay, I will take care of doing that.
Okay.
That way you're not doing all of it.
All right. Sounds good. Anything else for the good of the group? All right. Good to see everybody. David, I'll let you introduce our guest speaker.
And I'm going to just, I have no clue. This is going to be as much for you as it is for me because I don't know what Patrick's going to talk about. I told him it was wide open. He can talk about whatever he wants. I have the mute button handy, so if it goes too far afield, we'll I'll just shut him down. I have the privilege of something that I have never done before working with Patrick, and that is being a charter member of a fellowship. You'll notice there's something we both have in common. And Patrick was one of them that was really instrumental in pushing the Beard and Mustache Fellowship. Ours is the Mustache and Beard. I always get to forget which way it goes, but I'll let him figure it out. And it was really an interesting arrangement to see all through Facebook. I mean, we did it all through Facebook to put it together, and it was quite interesting. He is in Africa, as I've told you. Gem of a gentleman. I've worked with him on a number of things. I've known him through Todd and through Rotary prior to this even. And I'm just going to let you handle it, Patrick, and the floor is yours, or the screen.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. It's good to be back in Missouri. I spent 3 years in Missouri in Springfield, Queen City of the Ozarks, in Bible college there, and our youngest daughter was our only daughter. She was born there in Springfield at St. John's Hospital, which I think is the name has been changed, but that's 42 years or 43 years ago, or however old she is. Anyway, I've been in Africa now. This is just past my 35th year, so I'm into 36 now. Started off in Zaire. And when they began shooting at me, we came south and moved into Zambia. Much more peaceful, much more conducive to doing the kind of things that I do. And we work with church leaders, school leaders. I'm a retired school principal. Almost said headmaster because that's what they call them here. But was a principal of a school in Indiana. Someone came and visited the school and said, "This is really, really good. What can you do outside your comfort zone?" I said, "I've got a wife, a house, 2 kids, and a dog. Oh, and a Buick." I said, I like my comfort zone. I'm happy with what I'm doing. And so he said, "Well, just pray about it and see what God wants you to do." So I prayed about it, and God didn't let me sleep much. And so I contacted a mission agency, and they said, I said, "Where would you send somebody for 3 years as a volunteer?" 3 years. And they said, "Well, we need some help right now in Zaire." And I said, "Oh, great. Where is that exactly?" And they said, "Well, it's the old Belgian Congo." And I said, "Missionary to the Congo. Well, of course, why not?" So I said, "It's 3 years. We'll see what we can do." So I packed my wife and my kids and everything, and sold the house, sold the car, and took off for Zaire. That was 1985. Fell in love with Africa. Fell in love with the people. Fell in love with the opportunity to actually get our hands dirty and do stuff and make a difference in the lives of young Africans, especially teenagers, and prepare them for life and be a role model, which in Zaire they didn't have. Then in 1991, things got interesting, and when you live in Africa, interesting is a bad thing. So we evacuated. And I came back and kept going back into Zaire until finally it became untenable. And in 1992, moved my family into Zambia. I was still going back and forth, but it was just difficult to get anything done. And the president of Zambia at that time, Kenneth Coleman, invited me to move and begin working in Zambia. That was actually the end of 1991. My heart was still in Zaire, but it just wasn't going to work, and it was just difficult. So I came into the little town, tiny little mining town of Luancha, and began working with another missionary and seeing what we could do. And I was invited to join. No, I'm sorry. I was invited to speak at the Rotary Club of Lawancha. And I thought that's kind of cool. I mean, there was a Rotary Club in my hometown, and I'd known about Rotary, and I just didn't even dream that there was a Rotary Club in this tiny little town. So after speaking to the Rotary Club, a couple of weeks later, they said, would you be interested in joining? I said, joining a Rotary Club. Wow. Do you have any literature? And they said, well, yeah. And they gave me this set of 4 books. It was called the Rotary Library, and it was probably 20 years old. So I read through all of those, and again, it was just stale information. I said, do you have anything else? And the man who was inviting me into Rotary handed me the MOP. And I said, so what is the MOP? It's a manual of procedure. It's like the Rotary Bible. Oh, okay. I know Bible. So I read it, the whole thing. And I said, okay, I can do this. And I said, but I've got some questions. And I've been asking questions for the last 26 years. And sometimes I get in trouble, and sometimes it's just fun. But that was my introduction into Rotary. I joined the club. I didn't join because I wanted to do service projects. I couldn't. I mean, I think sometimes we make the mistake of telling people, join Rotary, work for free. We have all these great things you can do if you join Rotary. Well, I was already working, and working a lot. Working with schools, working with churches, working with adult education programs. I didn't want another job, especially one that was free. But I joined because I didn't know anybody. Literally, I didn't know anybody in this town. So at the Rotary Club, there was a banker, a lawyer, business people, a doctor, a dentist. It was all there. So I said, okay, this is how I'm going to be able to get into town and find out what's going on. Because in this club, tiny little club, everybody was there who was anybody. When I got into Rotary, they said, oh, by the way, we've got this project. Would you serve as treasurer for the project? Yeah, okay, how tough can that be? So as I got into the events of Rotary, I became more and more involved in what was the workings of Rotary, and went from being a member to the secretary, well, treasurer of the project, and secretary, then president, and then up through the line until in 2006-07, I became the district governor for our district, which includes 3.5 countries, about 1 million square miles, and a lot of driving, a lot of work. But it was just wonderful because I'm meeting people. From there, I worked in regional areas and zone areas, became the RRFC 2016 and through 19. So I've finished that. I was telling David, I finished my term. I think I finished my sentence. And from that point on, I've been the secretary of the Governor's Council for Southern Africa, and I'm the chairman-elect next year. So again, I didn't join for work, but it's been a great opportunity to work. And I also get to write for the Rotary Africa magazine, do a monthly column, and I get a chance to speak to Rotary clubs. I mean, I'm in Missouri today. No airplanes, no hassles through immigration, no customs checks, no 2-week quarantine. Tomorrow I'll be in Nigeria doing the same kind of thing. It'll be my 5th trip to Nigeria, 4 of them virtually. So this is great fun, be able to meet people and know what's going on and have an exciting time in Rotary. And in dealing and thinking about Holger Nack's, by the way, Holger Nack was my classmate. He was governor the same year I was. in 2006-07. When Holger talked about the opportunities in Rotary, I thought, wow, this is exactly what happened to me. I did not join Rotary to be a governor, to be the RRFC, to be a coordinator, to be all over Africa. But I have been, and it's been wonderful. How many of you know the story of the Rotary Anns? You know the story of the Rotary Anns? I can't see hands. Anybody know? A couple of you?
Probably not too many.
Okay, well.
We don't have it here, so probably not too many.
Yeah. Okay, well, in Southern Africa, in fact, in a lot of areas around the world, Rotary clubs, the wife of a Rotarian is affectionately known as a Rotary Ann. Now, my wife is not a Rotary Ann. I brought her into Rotary, and then 2 years later, I married her. So she's always been a Rotarian. And of course, that John Maggiogui called that the real family of Rotary. Bring them in, then marry them, and that way, it was great fun. And so the term Rotary Ann is not one of disparagement, but it has a rather interesting story. It all started in 1914, before most of you were born. When San Francisco Rotarians boarded a special train to attend the Rotary Convention in Houston. Now, can you imagine Rotarians chartering a whole train? Well, that was back in 1914. These days, we get together on airplanes and make all kinds of ruckus. But very few wives actually attended the conventions. If you know anything about the history of Paul Harris, you will understand that he was not the meek, mild gentleman that we think of as a young man. He was rather rowdy, but the Rotarians would get together and they'd leave the wives behind. But there were a few who would travel with their husbands, a few of the brave, and one of those was Anne Brunier. Anne's husband, Brew Brunier, I guess I ran out of names, she was on the train. And since her name was Anne, she was introduced as the Rotarians Anne. Again, back in those days, no women in Rotary. We didn't progress any further until several decades later, and I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that. I see ladies in the group. My wife's in the other room, also Rotarian. But the Rotary Ann title soon became common around the train. When the train arrived in Houston, the delegation from West Coast Rotarians was there, and his name was Guy Gundaker. Now, I've probably mispronounced his name, but you know what? He was from Philadelphia, so it doesn't matter. His wife was also named Ann. So during the demonstration, someone started a Rotary Ann chant. You've got two ladies, both of them named Ann. These are the Rotarian Anns. So these two little ladies, Anne Brunier and Anne Gundaker, were lifted up on the men's shoulders and paraded around the hall. My wife would not have appreciated that. I don't know about yours, but the group loved the title and given to the two women named Anne, and immediately the same term of endearment was used for all the wives in attendance. The name Rotary Ann was here to stay. Now, in Africa, the wives of Rotarians are called the Rotarians Ann. Not real sure what to call the husbands of a Rotarian. Some have called them George, some have called them Andy. It doesn't make any sense to me because, well, I didn't marry a Rotary Ann, I married a Rotarian. So Guy Gundaker became the president of Rotary International in 1923. Brew was elected in 1952. So each of the two original Rotary Anns became the first ladies of Rotary International. Now, several years ago, 2006 as a matter of fact, I was introduced to a group of Rotary Anns in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe, and they were meeting as the Anns during the Rotary District Conference. I was the governor-elect. I was being introduced. And I mentioned to this auspicious group of ladies that they didn't need to be seen just as the wives of Rotarians, but Rotary was open to both men and women, and ladies were welcome to join Rotary. You would have thought that I'd slap my mother. They just stared at me. They stared at each other. I was stunned by their response. And the wife of one past governor explained to me that the Anns were happy and satisfied to be Anns, and I was kicking a hornet's nest with that kind of foolish talk. I was stunned. I really was surprised. I later apologized to the group and explained that I meant no offense, but the fact remains every Rotary membership was available to both men and ladies. After all, my wife was a Rotarian, and she still refuses to be called a Rotary Ann. She says, I'm not a Rotary Ann, I'm a Rotarian. Todd has had a chance to meet Sherry. There is no hint that she's afraid to speak her mind. But I went to the other side of the district conference and asked the delegates, again, 99% of them were men, and I asked them, have you asked your wives to join Rotary? One past governor said, they are happy just being Anns. Don't rock the boat. Well, I was relatively young as a governor and the only, American in the group, and I was seen as being way too progressive for that group. But my wife was sitting in the room and she just sort of rolled her eyes. Again, there weren't very many Rotary ladies in the group, so I tried not to kick up too much of a storm. But I was convinced that we needed more ladies in Rotary. They added to the organization. In fact, during my year as governor, one of my assistant governors was a lady named Stella Dongo from the Rotary Club of Highlands in Harare, Zimbabwe. She was never a Rotarian. She joined as a Rotarian. And in 2013 to 14, she became the governor. She was actually my assistant governor of the year. Marvelous lady. In 2015, she was recognized by Rotary as one of the global women of action. She is a phenomenal person, a Rotarian. Well, as we progress through time, I'm pleased to note that several of the Rotary Anns in that group in 2006 did in fact join Rotary. Not all of them, but several of them. And they've become leaders in our district, leaders in their clubs, leaders in our zone, and they are realizing that they don't, and I hate to use the term, they don't just need to be the wife of a Rotarian. They don't just need to be an Ann. So I look at this, and I'm very excited. In Kenya, one of my friends, Geeta Manik from the Rotary District 9212, now serves as a trustee in the Rotary Foundation. Another one of my classmates, Susie Howe, is a director. She's from Houston, Texas. So ladies are becoming more and more involved, and I'm excited about the fact that Rotary is kicking and screaming being moved into the 21st century. Now, I'm not going to campaign for a Rotary female president because I don't want to jeopardize that possibility. And I know that a lot of people are really pushing for it, but if we campaign, we disqualify them, and that's not what we want to do. But what really confuses me is the reticence of male Rotarians to bring in their spouses into Rotary. Last year, I was seated at a Rotary dinner with Rotary leaders and their spouses at a rather large table. I asked the ladies at the table, how many of you are Rotarians? They looked at each other and they said, well, nobody ever asked us. Now, these are the wives of Rotary leaders. And I looked at their husbands and they got silent. They went mute. And they began looking around like, who's paying the bill for this dinner? It gets better. I imagine if Rotary, if Rotarians, if Rotarians, both male and female, would invite their significant others, their spouses, or partners into Rotary, we would grow by 50% overnight. Because obviously many of us have already crossed that line and brought in the most important person in our life into Rotary, our spouse. But imagine if all the Rotarians whose partners did not join came along with us. We would go from 1.2 to well over 1.8 million Rotarians. And it'd be fantastic. I mean, these are women and men who are qualified. When I asked the men at the table at this meeting last year, is your wife not qualified to be a Rotarian? Again, silence. I said some of them are the CEOs of their company, they're the COOs of their company. Some of them flat own their own company. Many of them are in positions of leadership. Why aren't they in Rotary? They couldn't answer. Some of those ladies have since joined Rotary, although not in their husband's club, because they said, we don't want to be in a club that doesn't want us. Oh, it gets better, by the way. Imagine the growth if Rotarians invited their children to join Rotary. 3 of my children are Rotarians, and one of them in Odessa, Texas, is being courted by 2 clubs in Odessa to join their club. So 4 of my children are, 3 are Rotarians, 1 is about to be. If we bring in the best of the best, our spouses, our children, people who understand Rotary, who understand the idea of service above self, who understand the idea that the world is better when we're all working together, it would be fantastic to see what can happen if we ask. If we ask. Rotary opens opportunities to family, and I'm not necessarily talking about a family membership. I know the Lions have done that, and if one person's a member, the second person gets a discount. My wife and I both pay the same amount of money. We both get a magazine. She gets the Rotarian magazine, I get Rotary Africa magazine. We like what we do. We like the excitement. Our children have seen the excitement from us. So the opportunity exists for families, whole families, to join Rotary. So my suggestion is, if your significant other is not a Rotarian, why? It's up to you. David?
Hey, David, can I make a comment?
Yes, Bob, go ahead.
We when I joined many years ago, we had Rotarians in our club. The women got together as Rotarians. Now that probably stopped prior to women being brought into Rotary, but we did have that in the club. Just it's a matter of interest.
Thank you, because I did not know that. I'm going to call out 2 people on this call because, Patrick, you had no clue, but you described Mary and I to a T. I was governor nominee, and our governor-elect, soon to be governor, and Mary had been with me through everything. I mean, she pitched in with the club, she helped out, all of this stuff. She came to me one day and she said, well, I'm already doing it anyway. What do I need to do to join? I said, well, there's always the paperwork. So we filled out the paperwork. Yep, the money, you got it. We filled out the paperwork. I took it to the board. I was on the board at the time as an advisor, and I took it to the board, and the board approved it. So we go to the meeting. And one gentleman on this call, Mitch, made a really good comment. And I said, just because somebody makes application to your club does not mean you have to accept them, which is true. I said, but not accepting the almost governor's spouse might not be a good idea. And Mitch was really good. Mitch said, and I've worked for Mitch, so and I think I was working for him at the time. He said, Dave, we'll take Mary. You're going to have to find another club, but we'll take Mary. Now, we're both in the same club. When we have been at the meetings and we've had breakfast and such, we sit at two different tables. We have to deal with each other during the evening. We don't need to eat with each other at breakfast too. But it's what you're involved in. These guys know the story with our daughter. She did a project a number of years ago when she was in college, and too long of a story, but I'm going to cut to the chase. She ended, when she was talking to me about it, she said, Dad, all those times you guys were talking about Rotary. And I said, yeah, and it's a lot. I mean, honestly, we're both involved. It's a lot. And she said, all the times you didn't think we were listening. Yeah, we really were. And people do listen. They see it, and it's not only listening with the ears, but listening with the eyes. How are you treating people? What are you doing? I think you made some really good points. I'm going to open it up for any questions anybody might have. I have muted everybody, so if you want to ask a question, you're going to have to unmute yourself. Or none. Patrick, I appreciate you taking your time to be here. It's close to 20 to 3 your time. Your day is winding down some. Our day is just starting, which has always floored me how time zones work like that. We were at the Korea convention and we got home 45 minutes before the flight left, which Einstein is correct. Time travel does work. But I truly appreciate it. I appreciate your time and what you've done with Rotary. And oops, sorry, I just muted Mitch. I was unmuting. I'll throw it back to Mitch for any wrap-ups that we might have.
Thank you, Patrick. That was an excellent talk. Appreciate you. Your excitement for Rotary is contagious. Love it.
That's good.
Love it. Love it. Anything for the good of the group? All right. I know David would appreciate if anybody has any thoughts on programs. He would sure appreciate some help. We're going to stay virtual. We're doing it 1 month at a time, but in all reality, we don't really see the club being able to meet again in person, probably not this calendar year. So in all reality, just being able to get a group big enough to be able to be at Russo's and be able to foot the bill and so forth. So just kind of throwing that out there. That's kind of where the board's thoughts are right now. But we will take it 1 month at a time because things change, and it becomes safe, we'll get right back together. So
we do have a speaker next week. In fact, it showed up on my Google feed, which is how I contacted them and told them that. It's a startup company in Maryland Heights called RX Outreach. And they are providing funding and drug for underprivileged and so on. So they're going to talk about how they're doing things. So that's next week, but the next 2 weeks are open in all of September. So yes, anybody has ideas, send them to me and I'll hook up with them and tell them how we make it work and all of that stuff.
I do have one idea I'm going to be working on, so see if we can get you somebody.
That'll work.
All right. All right.
Let me invite all of you. Dave mentioned the Beard and Mustache Appreciation Fellowship. Just so you know, you don't have to have a beard or a mustache. You just have to like them. Okay, so ladies, you're more than welcome to join us. Those of you who either don't want to grow a beard, your wife won't let you grow a beard, but you like beards, you're more than welcome to join us. Join us through Facebook. David can give you all the links for that kind of stuff. And it's for fun. And it's also going to help us down the line talk about some issues of men's health that men don't talk about, because men are tough. We don't ever get sick. We don't ever need a doctor, but when we do, we don't know who to talk to. So this is what the Beard and Mustache Appreciation Fellowship is all about, helping men talk about men stuff that they don't want to talk about just anywhere. So next month, September, is Prostate Awareness Month, and we're going to be talking about how not to give yourself a prostate exam and things like that.
Best done by a professional, yes. A doctor professional, not a, never mind, I'll stop. Don't get me going. I've not been around, the sarcasm is built up so far that, because I haven't been around the kids to get it out. So it's Mary won't let me, you know. Yeah, you didn't have to, Patrick, you didn't have to go that far because I had some health issues on Monday that popped up, and you could have left out the part about that we don't want to approach, because she just whacked me about that. So thank you. Throw me under the bus. Didn't even know it. I appreciate it.
Mitch,
What friends bar?
That's it, you know.
Mitch, do we need to
Al.
vote on the changes you talked about?
One more time.
Excuse me?
What did you say, Al?
Do we need to vote on the changes you talked about?
The board approved them. It's a board thing. The board approved them yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But thank you. Yeah. And for those that, when David sends out the emails, just a reminder, we've decided to standardize all meetings will be at 7 a.m. I guess except for are we still trying to do the 4th?
Yeah, but that won't come up for a while. The fifth Wednesday won't come up for a bit yet, so we're okay.
Okay. So Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock, whether it's a board meeting or a regular meeting, will be right here. So watch for your emails on over the weekend. Dave's trying to send out one with the newsletter and the link for the next meeting. So again, we thank David so much for keeping all that together.
Thank you, Dave.
Jack had something.
Yeah, the link. Do we use the same link, or are we changing links every week?
It's a different link every week for security reasons.
Okay.
If you use the same one, it can be hacked rather easily.
Yeah.
So I do have it generate a different link every time.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
All righty. Thank you. Again, Patrick, thank you. Have a great evening.
Thanks,
Everybody else, great
Thank you,
day.
Patrick.
See you next week.
Y'all take care.
Patrick.
Bye.